Now, what an absolute shame right here. A new franchise has been started, the Maple Ridge Gladiators. And like always, whenever I start a new franchise, we don't get to start with a bunch of players, but instead 0 overalls. We have a team of all 0 overalls, and I'm going to have to win a Stanley Cup. And we're going to be doing it with the best young players in the game. We're going to be spinning a wheel of NHL teams, but I'm only allowed to select players under 25. So this video right here is going to be all about the young guns. There's a lot of young, talented players in the league, and I want to see them represented today. We're going to be starting with the Washington Capitals. Normally, when you think about the Washington Capitals, the first player that comes to mind is Alexander Ovechkin. Unfortunately, he's not younger than 25 years old. He's actually getting to the tail end of his career. The players we're bringing to the team, they're at the very beginning. Now, unfortunately, in today's video, Alexander Ovechkin doesn't really fit the criteria. Neither does John Carlson, Dylan Strome, Logan Thompson, Jacob Chikrin. But you know who does fit the criteria? Protas. 86 overall Protas is only 23 years old, or at least he was 23 years old at the beginning of the season. And how I'm going to do this video is technically you have to be 24 years old or younger at the beginning of the season, because I'm going to assume at some point during the year you turn 25 years old, so technically you're not younger than 25 years old. It's very confusing, but at the beginning of the season, Protas was 23 years old, so that means the oldest he can be at the time of me recording this video is 24 years old, so that means he fits the criteria. 86 overall Protas, welcome to the team. That's a pretty good player to start with. Now Protas, you're going to be brought to the Gladiators here, and you're going to be surrounded with 0 overall players, so you know what that means. You have incredibly low expectations. If you don't take a single shot this season, I'm going to put 0 blame on you. But without further ado, it's finally time for us to get into season number 1 and then lose every game 30-0 because there's no way this team's going to score. But while we do that, if you haven't already, of course, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit 86k by the release of NHL 26, and we only have a few weeks to go, so if you haven't already, hit the button down below, and you might as well drop a like while you're at it. Now, I am absolutely stunned here, not at the fact that we lost every game, and not at the fact that we didn't score any goals, but just the fact that we were able to get through the entire season. Normally in season number 1, the game freezes at some point, it breaks, nothing works at all, but somehow in season number 1, we actually got through the entire year. You know what? That's something to celebrate. Eric Cartman, Ricky Lafleur, the numbers are absolutely terrible. That's no surprise. The Stanley Cup champions are the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think we'll just leave it at that. Now, I think out of all the NHL teams available on this wheel, the most valuable might be the Calgary Flames, because if we land on the Calgary Flames, then we're getting Dustin Wolf and we'll have an elite goaltender. There's very few elite goaltenders in the league that are younger than 25 years old. Dustin Wolf's one of the very few. We're landing on the Winnipeg Jets, and I actually couldn't tell you exactly who we're bringing to the team. Cole Perfet is going to be the first player coming to mind here. I can't think of anyone else on Winnipeg who's under 25 years old that would be higher overall than him. Now, if I would have did this video at the beginning of the season, we would have been adding Gabe Vilardi to the team, as he's 25 years old right now. However, more than likely he's had a birthday since, so he's probably 26 now. One player who's certainly not older than 25 though is going to be Cole Perfetti, currently sitting at an 85 overall. He's going to be the next addition to the team. I can confidently say there's going to be very few superstars that we actually bring to this team, but throughout the entire lineup, we're going to be looking at 85, 86 overall players. So with that kind of depth, I don't think we're going to need a ton of superstars. So now that we've added Cole Perfetti to Protas' side, I'm expecting this team's going to score a couple goals this season, and when I say a couple, I mean like 4 or 5. We're not scoring more than 5 goals. Truthfully, if we score more than 3, I would consider that a success. Now, I guess asking for 4 goals was a little bit too much, because once again, we're not going to be scoring any goals. How on earth did the Vancouver Canucks make the postseason, being 23rd in the entire league? This team was closer to last place than they were first place, but yet they somehow made the playoffs here. Nah, that's wild. Was the Pacific Division just that bad? Yes, they were. Seattle finished with 84 points, same with Vancouver, and they made the postseason as well. Nah, this division was in the absolute trenches. Like, that is absolutely crazy work right there, finishing 23rd in the entire league and still making the postseason. Protas 16 shots, Cole Perfetti 19 shots, but none of those shots ended up in the back of the net, so we're not even going to score a goal this season. Eric Cartman, Ricky Lafleur, you couldn't keep the puck out of the net. Eric Cartman was allowing 20 goals per game. He was certainly doing something out there. And then when it comes to the postseason, we're going to see the New Jersey Devils taking down the Winnipeg Jets in a 6-game series. I would really like to land on New Jersey here, because then we could walk away with Jack Hughes. And before I find out Jack Hughes turned 25 like 3 days ago and we can't bring him to the team, we almost landed on the Devils and potentially Jack Hughes. Instead, we got the San Jose Sharks, and I'm going to be honest, I'm perfectly fine with that, because we're going to be walking away with Macklin Celebrini, and now he's the new highest overall on the team. So we're going to be adding one of the top rookies to the team, Macklin Celebrini, welcome. An 87 overall is going to be a great addition to the team. I think one thing we are going to struggle with is adding defensemen to this team, because when I think about really good young defensemen, I'm thinking Lane Hudson, I'm thinking Brock Faber, Jackson Lacombe's also in that conversation, but I can't think of that many elite potential defensemen that are under 25 years old. I guess Jake Sanderson's in that conversation. So yeah, maybe we will be alright. Now you know what, I'm taking my comment I made about defensemen back here, because the more I think about it, there's actually a lot of teams that have really good defensemen under 25 years old. The Dallas Stars have Thomas Harley, the Buffalo Sabres have Owen Power. Like, there's going to be a ton of great options when it comes to building this defense, so I actually don't think we have to worry at all. Now through adding Macklin Celebrini to the team, we were finally able to score some goals, 24 goals to be exact, 0.29 goals per game. That's certainly not going to get us the Stanley Cup this season, but at least we're scoring goals now. Macklin Celebrini 23 points, Cole Perfetti 22 points, Protas 21. Surprisingly, Macklin Celebrini is going to be leading us in goals here with 10. The only reason I say it's a bit of a surprise is he's a playmaker, and we have Protas who actually can score some goals. But you know what? He's going to be picking up the fewest goals on the team. I don't know how I feel about that. When it comes to goaltending numbers, I don't even know why we're looking at them, because we know they're going to be terrible. And then when it comes to our Stanley Cup winner, that's going to be the Carolina Hurricanes, taking the Vegas Golden Knights down in 6 games. Now we're off to a pretty solid start so far. We've got 3 amazing players that we can build our team around, and now it's time to bring in an amazing defenseman. Thomas Harley, welcome to the team. So we've gone ahead and added our first defenseman to the team in Thomas Harley. Unfortunately, I don't think it's really going to make too much of a difference, because he's still surrounded by 0 overalls, but not for long. Eventually, we're going to add another superstar defenseman to his side, and then this team's going to be looking great. I mean, that's a complete and utter lie. We're going to give Thomas Harley a defensive partner, and that means we're going to have 5 NHL players on the team, meaning we still have 15 0 overalls. We are a long ways away from being somewhat decent. Now, are we really surprised that this is going to be happening eventually? The game's going to be freezing. We were on a 41-game losing streak. We all knew this was going to happen eventually, so let's just go spin the wheel. Like, there was absolutely no way we were going to get through this entire video without it freezing at some point. We're landing on the Boston Bruins, and if I'm being completely honest, nobody's really jumping out at me when it comes to the Boston Bruins. Like, when I'm thinking about young players here, I'm thinking about Matt Poitras, and I can't really think of anyone else. Now, if we're talking about players younger than 25 years old, Jeremy Swayman doesn't qualify because he's 25 years old exactly. Same with Casey Milstat. So the player that we're going to be walking away with isn't going to be Matt Poitras, but instead Mason Lohrei, who's currently 23 years old, maybe 24 now. I know I'm contradicting myself when it comes to the ages, but I'm actually not 100% sure. Like, at the beginning of the season, Mason Lohrei was 23 years old. Is he still 23 years old? I have no clue. There's a very high likelihood he's 24 years old now, but if he was born in September, then he still will be 23. But with all that being said, Mason Lohrei, welcome to the team. Now, Thomas Harley, after one more spin, we're going to be giving you a defensive partner. That's Mason Lohrei, but even with the addition of Mason Lohrei, we still don't have a goaltender or a second pairing or a third pairing or even 3 forward lines here. Like, we're still missing a lot of pieces, but you know what? We have a first line and we have a first defensive pairing. What more could you really ask for? The answer is lots more. You could ask for a lot more, like 3 more forward lines, 2 defensive pairings, and 2 goaltenders. That's what you could ask for. Now, I guess 1 forward line and 1 defensive pairing is actually going to be a lot better than I thought, because we're scoring 62 goals this season. I certainly wasn't expecting 62 goals, especially 52 points from Cole Perfetti. All right, the boys were locked in. What can I say? Protas is even picking up 22 goals here. Why do I feel like we're not going to perform as well next season? I feel like this season was kind of fluky, and next season, even though we're going to be adding another player to the team, and in theory we should be even better, I feel like we're going to score less goals. Yeah, that's definitely going to bring the morale down. We're not even looking at goaltending numbers. The Winnipeg Jets are Stanley Cup champions. Let's just go ahead and spin the wheel again and get like a 90 overall. Now, asking for a 90 overall is quite a lot, because there's very few 90 overall players that we can actually select. I know for a fact that the Vegas Golden Knights don't have a 90 overall player for us. I think we're lucky if we walk away with an 84 here. Now, it's not much of a surprise that the Vegas Golden Knights aren't going to have a lot of players under 25 years old. This is an older team, but they do have one guy that's going to fit the criteria here, and he's the guy we're going with. Pavel Dorofeyev, welcome to the team, an 84 overall sniper. He's going to play some good bottom 6 minutes for me in the future, because if he's playing top line minutes for me by the time we're competing for a Stanley Cup, I think we're going to be in trouble. Also, I shouldn't say that Pavel Dorofeyev was our only option, because Caden Korzak is under 25 years old as well. But yeah, we're going going to pass up on Korzak and go with Dorfia. So what I've done this season is Pavel Dorfia, you're going to play some first line minutes while Cole Perfet is moving down to the second line. I know Cole Perfet is a higher overall, but Pavel Dorfia is a sniper, Protas is a power forward, and it makes sense for them to be alongside Macklin Celebrini, who's going to be our primary playmaker. It doesn't really make sense to have a playmaker alongside another playmaker. So it turns out last season actually wasn't a fluke, because we're going to score more goals this season. 70 goals for the Maple Ridge Gladiators. We're getting close to a goal per game. We're 12 goals away from that. Macklin Celebrini, 49 points. I can only assume Pavel Dorfia performed, and he certainly did. 22 goals, 20 helpers for 42 points. Protas is picking up 39 points. Meanwhile, Cole Perfetti, he's picking up 22. Even though he was by his lonesome, he's still going to be picking up points from me. When it comes to goaltending, yeah, we're going to continue to pretend that doesn't exist right now. The Carolina Hurricanes are Stanley Cup champions. I think it's about time we go get ourselves a goaltender, or even another superstar. I'd be fine with either or. Like, you can give me Dustin Wolf here, or you can give me Jack Hughes. I'd be fine with either of those players. Unfortunately, we're not going to get either of those players, and we're going to land on the Edmonton Oilers. I think it's Matt Savoy or Podkolzin. I think those are actually our only two options. I can't think of a young player under 25 on the Edmonton Oilers. Now, I have absolutely no clue what we're going to be walking away with from the Edmonton Oilers. I think Stuart Skinner actually might be one of the youngest players on the team. McDavid's 27, Drysdale's 28, Evan Bouchard's 24. Okay, when's his birthday? I'm pretty sure Evan Bouchard has turned 25, so we're not going to count him for the sake of this video, but if for some reason his birthday's in September, we're going to be adding him. Yeah, so never mind. He was born on October 20th. That means like 2 weeks into last season, he turned 25, so we're not going with Evan Bouchard. Okay, seriously, I have no clue who we're actually going with here. Everyone on this team is older than 25. Basically, almost everyone on this team is older than 30 years old. I think it is Matt Savoy or Podkolzin. You know what? We're just going to go with Podkolzin here. I don't even know if Matt Savoy's on the roster. It doesn't look like it. Podkolzin, you're our only option, so we're going with you. So Podkolzin, welcome to the team. You're playing second line minutes this season, but in the future, I can guarantee you're going to be playing fourth line minutes for me. If only the Edmonton Oilers had a couple young guys like Phil Broberg and Dylan Holloway. That would be crazy. So we added Podkolzin to the team. He's replacing a 0 overall. Obviously, we're going to be looking at a goal per game this season. We scored 67 goals this season. That is 3 less than last season. We're not even going to bother looking at stats here. The Tampa Bay Lightning are Stanley Cup champions. How did Podkolzin replace a 0 overall and then make us worse? I have no clue, but we're not going to question it. Let's go spin the wheel and pretend this didn't happen. Yeah, so that really happened. We added Podkolzin to the team and he made us worse. Not really too sure how that works. The Utah Hockey Club should be a very good team to select from because they have a lot of young talent. There's going to be a ton of great options for us to go with, but I have one guy in mind and I think we all know who I'm thinking about. Now let's not even mess around here. Dylan Gunther, welcome to the team. You're the player we're going with. We're not going with Clayton Keller, he's 26 years old. We're not going with Sergachev, he's 26 years old. We're going with Dylan Gunther, 88 overall at 21 years old. He's going to be our big time sniper on the first line. But there's a lot of other great options here, like Logan Cooley was a good option. Sean Dursey, unfortunately we can't go with him. We could have gone with Michael Kesselring. Actually, no, we can't because he's 24 years old at the beginning of the season, likely 25 now. So we actually couldn't have gone with Michael Kesselring. But you know what? It doesn't matter. We were going with Dylan Gunther from the very beginning, and that's who we're going to be sticking with. So after just 2 seasons on the top line with us, Pavel Dorfia is moving down to the second line. He's playing alongside Cole Perfetti and Podkolzin. We have Protas, Macklin Celebrini, Dylan Gunther holding it down the top line. The top 6 is looking not too bad if you take Podkolzin out. If we take Podkolzin out of this top 6, I think we'll be alright. Now with the addition of Dylan Gunther to the team, not only were we over a goal per game, but we actually scored 100 goals this season, 102 goals to be exact. Macklin Celebrini was leading the way alongside Dylan Gunther. Like, he had 56 points, but so did Dylan Gunther. Dylan Gunther 22 goals, Macklin Celebrini 24. Cole Perfetti wasn't too bad either. Protas, I'm not gonna lie, you let me down a little bit, but that's beside the point. The forward core is certainly showing up for us. When it comes to our goaltending though, that has never showed up and it won't show up until we get an actual goaltender here. So I think we gotta lock in here. We have to start focusing on bringing a goaltender to the team, and ideally Dustin Wolf. The Dallas Stars are Stanley Cup champions, taking down the Toronto Maple Leafs in 6 games. That's gonna be us in about 10 spins. So here we go. Let's go get our goaltender. Let's land on the Calgary Flames and we'll be set here. The Nashville Predators. Not really the team I was thinking about, and if I'm being honest, I can't think of a ton of young players on Nashville. Luke Evangelista is one player that comes to mind, and if I'm being honest, outside of Luke Evangelista, I don't know who's under 25 on Nashville. So when it comes to the Nashville Predators, there's very few players under 25, but there are a few players under 25, and who is one of those players? Well, it's a guy we all knew about, Luke Evangelista, a stick on the ice legend. He's going to be joining the team at an 82 overall. Now, Luke Evangelista playing some second line minutes isn't giving me a lot of hope here, and it actually has nothing to do with the fact that he's an 82 overall or anything that has to do with Luke Evangelista. It has to do with all the 0 overalls on this team. Luke Evangelista, you're not really going to make too much of an impact when we have 2 0 overall goaltenders, 5 0 overalls in the forward core, and then 4 0 overalls in the defensive core. You could have the greatest season of all time and score 200 goals, and we would still lose every game because we're allowing 3,000 goals per season. Now, one of these days, we're going to make it to overtime, and we're going to lose a game in overtime. But in order to make it to that point, we need a goaltender here. Like at this point, I'm willing to take a 75 overall goaltender. I don't care what overall the goalie is. Any goaltender would help us a ton here. Cole Perfet, Luke Evangelista, how on earth did you outperform the first line here? That shouldn't be possible. Dylan Guenther, Celebrini, and Protas should outperform both of you guys. But you know what? Luke Evangelista is picking up 44 points. I'm not going to complain about that. He was absolutely locked in. The first line, however, they were not locked in whatsoever. They didn't even show up for me. I don't know what they were doing. The Carolina Hurricanes are going to be Stanley Cup champions once again. As I just mentioned about 6 times in the past minute, give me a goalie. We desperately need one here. Like a goaltender would be a game changer. Plain and simple. That's what we could use the most here. Then again, the Buffalo Sabres actually have a lot of good players we could select from, and that includes a goaltender. Do I want Owen Power? Do I want Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen or Devin Levi? I don't think we go wrong with any selection here. Now we are about to make a very questionable decision. Rasmus Dahlin, I can't go with you because you turned 25 in April. When it comes to players we can select, Bo Byram is 23 years old, JJ Peterka is 22 years old, Owen Power is 21 years old. I can go with any of these guys right here. I actually can't go with Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen because he was 25 at the beginning of the season, meaning he's likely 26 years old right now. However, there is another option. We could go to the AHL and we could go to the Rochester Americans and select Devin Levi. He's an 81 overall. He was 22 years old at the beginning of the season, so technically he fits the criteria here. However, I'm going to make a very bad decision and I'm going to pass upon Devin Levi. Moving forward, I am not allowed to complain about not having a goaltender because I'm passing up on a goaltender to go with Bo Byram. So all that complaining I've done about not having a goaltender means absolutely nothing because I'm passing up on a goalie to go with Bo Byram. Is this the wrong decision? Absolutely. But I really want Bo Byram on the team, so it is what it is. So Bo Byram's going to be joining Thomas Harley on the first pairing. That's actually a really good first pairing to work alongside. Mason Lowry, you're going to have Rigby at your side. Honestly, you should just be honored to be playing alongside Rigby. Now, with the help of Bo Byram, we're scoring 136 goals this season, which is going to equal 1.66 goals per game. And on top of Bo Byram performing for me, the first line's looking pretty solid here. Macklin Celebrini having a bounce back campaign. So is Dylan Guenther. Protas, on the other hand, I'm going to be completely honest. I think I'm going to move you down to the second line. You haven't been performing for me. Meanwhile, Pavel Dorofeyev, he's been doing his thing on the second line. I think he deserves a shot on the first line now. When it comes to goaltending, Eric Cartman and Ricky Lafleur did what they could this season. There's only one thing I can really say about these guys. They gave us 100% this season. Unfortunately, their 100% isn't that good. But you know what? They're trying, and that's all we can ask for. The Carolina Hurricanes are once again winning a Stanley Cup here. Let's continue to add some great young guns to the team. So we've already added 10 players to the team. Now it's time for us to add another 10. And the Montreal Canadiens are a great team to select from. The only problem with the Montreal Canadiens, there's so many good options. Who do we really go with? So with the Montreal Canadiens, we have a lot of great options we can go with. We can't go with Nick Suzuki though. However, Cole Caulfield is an option here. He's an 88 overall. He'd be a really good forward for us. However, Lane Hudson would also be an incredible defenseman, like an 86 overall. He could play some good second pairing minutes. Do I go with Lane Hudson or do I go with Cole Caulfield? Like if we pass up on Cole Caulfield, there's still a lot of elite young forwards that we could go with. However, there's less elite young defensemen. So I feel like we just have to go with Lane Hudson here just because of numbers. So with the addition of Lane Hudson, our defense is 2/3 complete here. We have Bo Byram and Thomas Harley on the top pairing, Lane Hudson and Mason Lowry on the second pairing, Rigby and Trevor Corey are going to be holding it down the third pairing. And when I say they're holding it down, I mean they're going to be allowing about 600 goals when they're on the ice. Now, though we still haven't won any games here, there's actually quite a bit to celebrate. We're very close to scoring 2 goals per game. But on top of that, Dylan Guenther, he's very close to averaging a point a game. 77 points this season, 34 goals and 43 assists. Celebrini had 71 points. Pavel Dorofeyev 58, so it's clear he has to play on the top line for us. I question Pavel Dorofeyev a little bit on the top line, but I'm no longer doubting him. He's certainly that guy for us. And then when it comes to goaltending, we already know what Eric Cartman's about. We already know what Ricky Lafleur is about. They just do their thing here. And their thing is not keeping the puck out of the net, that is for certain. The Winnipeg Jets are Stanley Cup champions, taking down the Toronto Maple Leafs. We had 3 Canadian teams in the conference finals. I don't know how that works, but we're not going to question it, and we're just going to move on to our next wheel spin. Like seriously, 3 Canadian teams in the conference finals? That's definitely a little questionable. We're going to be landing on the Seattle Kraken. Immediately, Matty Beniers is coming to mind here, but I'm not too sure if we're actually going to be walking away with him. So immediately when it comes to the Seattle Kraken, they're an interesting team because they're trying to rebuild, but they don't have young players, so that's not really going too well for them. Matty Beniers is the number 1 option here, currently sitting at an 84 overall. Outside of Matty Beniers, there's actually really nothing we can go with. Like maybe Riker Evans, but we don't need another defenseman here. I mean, technically we do. We still need 2 more defensemen, but let's just go with Matty Beniers. He's an 84 overall. He can play some third line minutes for me. Then again, he is the same overall as Riker Evans, and if we bring Riker Evans to the team right now, he can play some second pairing minutes. Stick on the ice executive decisions being made. Matty Beniers, you're not coming to the team. We're going with Riker Evans instead. Now let's just set our head coach preferred lines here so we get the correct lines moving into this upcoming season. So we have Thomas Harley and Bo Byram, Riker Evans, Lane Hudson, Trevor Corey, Rigby. Where on earth is Mason Lowry? Well, don't worry, he's still in the lineup. He's just not playing defensive minutes anymore. He's going to be playing some third line left wing minutes. Why on earth is he playing forward minutes for us? I have no clue, but you know what? We're going to roll with it. Like realistically, if we're going to play Mason Lowry out of position, put him in between the pipes. Like have him play 82 games as our goaltender. What could possibly go wrong? Now for the longest time, I was ripping on our goaltending and how our goaltending wasn't holding up their end of the bargain. Now our forwards aren't holding up their end of the bargain. 146 goals this season. We're scoring less now. I don't know how that's possible. Macklin Celebrini, 53 points. I don't know what you're doing here. Dylan Gunther had 45 points. Didn't he have like 78 last season? Bro had like 30 less points than he did last season. No, this is an absolute joke here. Eric Hartman, Ricky Lafleur, I don't even care about your numbers this season because even if you guys posted elite numbers, we weren't doing anything because this team wasn't scoring goals at all. The Toronto Maple Leafs are going to be taking down the Winnipeg Jets in the Stanley Cup final. Once again, it's an all-Canadian matchup, but I don't care about this anymore. I don't even care about getting a good goaltender or a good defenseman. I need a superstar forward now. Like we went from me basically begging for a goaltender to now begging for a superstar forward. Logan Stankoven, I guess you're going to have to be that guy for me. Or Seth Jarvis. How old is Seth Jarvis at this point? We actually might be able to go with him. Now, Logan Stankoven, we're actually not going with you. Instead, we're going to be going with Seth Jarvis. He's an 88 overall sniper. We need more goal scoring help, and Seth Jarvis is the perfect guy to go with here. Now, we're not going to mess around this season. Mason Lowry, you're going to play some defensive minutes for me. Seth Jarvis, Macklin Celebrini, Dylan Gunther, you're holding it down the first line. Protas, Cole Perfetti, Pavel Dorfia, you're going to hold it down the second line for me. These are the defensive lines we're going to be running, and then these are the 2 goaltenders that we have. We need an upgrade sooner than later. So we're finally over 2 goals per game. We're up to 2.16. It's actually not too far off of the Chicago Blackhawks. I mean, it's almost a 60 goal difference, but even still, we still have a lot of 0 overalls on this team. We probably shouldn't be that close to the Chicago Blackhawks. Dylan Gunther, 74 points. Celebrini, 73 points. Seth Jarvis, 73 points. This is what I've been looking for. I've been looking for a first line like this that can carry the weight for us, and we finally have that. We don't have a goaltender that can carry the weight, but that's perfectly fine because we're going to get one the next couple spins here. The Nashville Predators are beating the Toronto Maple Leafs. Why are the Toronto Maple Leafs making the Stanley Cup final so often? I have no clue, but this is beyond ridiculous because this is probably like the 8th time they made to the Cup final so far. Okay, 8 times might be a bit of a stretch, but they've definitely made to the Cup final 5 times now. We're landing on the Chicago Blackhawks, and although we're not getting a goaltender here, we are going to be walking away with one of the best young players in the league. It's Connor Bedard. Do I really have to go look at the Chicago Blackhawks? We know who we're getting. It's Connor Bedard. Yeah, so let's just make this really quick. Connor Bedard, welcome to the team. Yeah, let's move on to next season. Hold on now. We could select Spencer Knight here. I'm not doing that. We're going to go with Connor Bedard, but Spencer Knight is an option. So once again, for the second time in this video, I'm passing up on a goaltender even though I'm complaining that I can't get a goaltender. We're going with 87 overall Connor Bedard. We'll see if this decision backfires on us or not. So what we'll do for this season is Celebrini, Seth Jarvis, and Dylan Gunther will continue to hold it down the first line because last season they looked really good alongside each other. Now we're going to have Cole Perfetti, Connor Bedard, and Pavel Dorfia on the second line. Although Pavel Dorfia is only an 84 overall, he has certainly stepped up so far in this video, so I'm perfectly fine with having him on the second line. I actually rather have him on the second line over a handful of players. Like if we have to add another player to the second line, I'm taking Cole Perfetti off the second line before I'm taking Pavel Dorfia off the second line. That's just how valuable he's been. Now surprisingly, we were actually close to not having the worst offense in the entire league. We still haven't won a game here, but we scored 219 goals. That's going to be 6 goals less than the Philadelphia Flyers, 7 goals less than the Vegas Golden Knights, and 8 goals less less than the Ottawa Senators. The offense between these 4 teams was actually very competitive, and it really shouldn't have been. Then again, if you look at our top 6, it's not bad by any means. Connor Bedard, Dylan Guenther, Cole Perfetti, Seth Jarvis, Macklin Celebrini, Pavel Dorofeev. I was giving you your props at the beginning of the season. Then Cole Perfetti scored 26 more points than you. How could you let that happen? Eric Cartman and Ricky Lafleur are actually getting pretty close to having a goals against below 10 here. Like Ricky Lafleur's was 10.29, Eric Cartman's was 11.48. The fact that we almost have 2 0 overall goaltenders with goals against below 10 is actually very surprising. Now, before we even go look at the Cup final, are we going to see the Toronto Maple Leafs again? It doesn't look like it. The New Jersey Devils are going to be taking down the Edmonton Oilers in the Stanley Cup final, so I guess we're not going to be seeing Toronto once again for like the 15th year in a row. Now, Connor Bedard was certainly a great help for this team. Like, he's going to be improving us a ton. I don't care about Connor Bedard. Dustin Wolf, welcome to the team. This is the game changer we've been looking for. Connor Bedard, you don't mean anything to me anymore. This is our man. We finally got our man, and his name is Dustin Wolf. So we finally got our glorious king, and the man that's going to lead us to a Stanley Cup. Dustin Wolf, welcome to the team. We got ourselves an 86 overall goaltender. We're going for 20 wins this season. Anything less than 20 wins is unacceptable. Now we have our savior. Dustin Wolf is the man. 86 overall. I have never been this gassed about getting a goaltender, but expectations are incredibly high for him, so if he doesn't live up to those expectations, I'll try to find a replacement, but I probably can't. He's likely the highest overall goaltender we can actually get that's under 25 years old. Now, the Maple Ridge Gladiators have certainly gone through some dark days, but the dark days are behind us. 22 wins this season. We're finally seeing success. 16 OT losses. The team's really locked in. Connor Bedard, 67 points. Cole Perfetti, 64. Macklin Celebrini, 62. Seth Jarvis, 62. Dylan Guenther, 59. Pavel Dorofeev, you had 38 points. We're going to pretend that didn't happen. And then Dustin Wolf, 22 wins, 1 shutout, a 913, a 337. Really, all we need now is a backup goaltender. If we can get a backup goaltender to give you a bit more support, I think we're going to be a fringe wildcard team. And when I say fringe wildcard team, I mean we're going to be realistically like a 33-win team. There's still a handful of 0 overall players that we have to replace on this team, but we're getting close to a Stanley Cup. Meanwhile, the Edmonton Oilers are finally going to get their get back against the Florida Panthers. They're taking them down 6 games. We're going to be the Stanley Cup champs sooner than later. Edmonton, you better look out. Until that moment, though, we're just going to keep on spinning this wheel and keep on adding great players to the team. Colorado, I know you're going to have something for me. Yeah, so I'm going to be honest, I actually wasn't prepared for this because I didn't think it would be possible, but the Colorado Avalanche actually don't have any players under 25 years old on their team. So I don't want to go digging through their AHL team because I don't want to be bringing some like 72 overall to the team. So we're going to pass on the Colorado Avalanche. We're just going to remove them from the wheel. Like, yes, we could have dove onto their AHL team, but I don't want to do that. I only want to be bringing superstars to our team. And when it comes to Florida, I feel like they're in a similar situation to Colorado where they're not going to have anyone under 25. Unless Anton Lundell is under 25, but I don't think he is, we're probably not getting a player from Florida. So yeah, I guess we're bringing Anton Lundell to the team. I didn't realize that he's only 23 years old right now. He was 22 at the beginning of the season. Yeah, that's a great pickup for us. For some reason, I was thinking he was like 24, 25 years old. Nope. Anton Lundell is still a youngin', so we're bringing him to the team. Now, we might be missing a 90 overall superstar on this team, but you know we have forward depth. Celebrini, Seth Jarvis, Dylan Guenther, and then we have Connor Bedard as our second line center, and Lundell as our third line center. So we have good center depth so far. The wingers aren't looking too bad. I think we're going to be a sleeper team in the postseason once we get there. No, it was just truly a heartbreaking season. I thought we were about to start building on momentum and this team is going to start flying. Nope, we won 19 games this season. We actually won less games than we did last season. We brought Anton Lundell to the team and he made us worse. I got nothing to say here. Like, we're going to go over this season pretty quick. Dustin Wolf, the numbers weren't quite as good this season. Nah, this was just straight failure of a season. The Minnesota Wild Stanley Cup champions. I'm really disappointed with what just happened. Like, I thought we were building some momentum here. I thought we were going to continue to make strides in the right direction, and then the very opposite of that happened. We're landing on the New York Islanders. They're kind of an older team, so I don't expect us to be getting a superstar here. And saying that, Siplikov certainly wouldn't be a bad pickup. Okay, I didn't realize that Siplikov was a 26-year-old rookie. Bro is 27 years old right now and just finished his rookie campaign. So yeah, we're not going to be going with him. So now that we're not going with him, I actually have no clue who we're bringing to the team. I guess it's going to be Holmstrom. He's the next youngest player here and he's the next highest overall. Yeah, we're going with 83 overall Holmstrom. He's certainly not the guy I thought we were going with. Now, last season, I had a lot of confidence in this team. all the confidence is gone. I don't know how I feel about this team anymore. We're lacking a superstar. I think the lack of a superstar here is definitely going to be hurting us, because I'm not too sure if this team can win when the lights are the brightest right now. Like, don't get me wrong, we have some of the best young players in the league, but I'm not sure if these young guys are going to be enough. I think if we really want to win a Stanley Cup, we're going to have to get some great players in these next couple spins. I'm thinking Tim Stutzel. I'm thinking Jack Hughes. We need some game changers. Now, Holmstrom's going to help us win a couple extra games this season. A 23-49-10 record isn't good enough here. We're still dead last in the entire league, and we're still missing a superstar. Dylan Guenther, 78 points. Celebrini, 65 points. Seth Jarvis, 62. We still don't have anyone with a positive plus minus, but I think that's going to change pretty quick here. Dustin Wolf, you're doing pretty solid as the starting goaltender here, but I have to give you somebody to be the backup. You can't be carrying the way. I can't have you play all 82 games. It's just not reasonable to have you play that many games and expect you to see success in the postseason. You're going to be absolutely exhausted. The Edmonton Oilers are going to be sweeping the Florida Panthers. That's certainly an outcome. So whether we get a superstar forward or a superstar defenseman, I don't really care as long as we walk away with a superstar. The Detroit Red Wings in theory should be good because they should have a lot of young players. They're in the middle of a rebuild right now. If they don't have any young players, then they have a lot of problems. Now, the Detroit Red Wings have two main options I'm looking at here: Lucas Raymond and Mo Seider. Which of these two guys do I want here? We already have some pretty solid playmakers on the team. We do need another elite defenseman, and Mo Seider would fill that role, and then our defense would be complete here. Okay, I have a plan here, but the plan is very risky because we have to get the Minnesota Wild in one of our next spins. I'm going to pass up on Lucas Raymond, and we're going to bring Mo Seider to the team. Now, the logic behind this decision is I'd rather have Mo Seider over Brock Faber because Mo Seider is one overall higher. Then we're going to land on the Minnesota Wild, and I'm going to be able to bring Matt Boldy to the team. He'd be a great addition to the top six, and he would help this team a ton. So I'm going to select Mo Seider with the expectation that we land on Minnesota in our next couple spins. Is this terrible logic to use? Absolutely. And I have nothing really to say outside that. This is just terrible logic. Now, you know what? The more I think about it, I think we went with the right player. Because name me a defenseman who is younger than 25 years old and is higher than an 88 overall. I don't think you're going to be able to. I think Mo Seider actually might be the highest rated defenseman under 25 years old. So basically, we just ended up going with the best option here. Him and Thomas Harley are going to be an amazing first pairing. Lane Hudson and Bo Byram are going to be great on the second pairing. And then Mason Lowry and Riker Evans, they can hold down the third pairing. They're going to play their role here. Our defense is set for the future. All right, we might have to start reevaluating things real quick if we don't start finishing second last in the entire league. We scored 254 goals this season. That's actually better than a handful of teams in the NHL. Where'd our offense rank? Okay, I think our offense was actually in the upper half here. It's the defense that's holding this team back because we allowed 368 goals. Yeah, that is way too many goals. We have to fix the defense here, but I think in order to fix the defense, we actually just have to fix the goaltending here. Give us a legitimate backup goaltender, and I think that solves all of our problems. Because Eric Hartman, he was 1-21 this season. Dustin Wolf was almost playing 70 games. Bro's absolutely exhausted. So if we can bring in a backup goaltender and get rid of a couple of the zero overalls on the fourth line, I actually think we'll be okay. So give me a young goaltender or give me an elite forward that we can work with here. I think we have our man. We might potentially have our man here, and I'm not thinking about a forward. Jet Greaves, how old are you? Now I'm looking at going with Jet Greaves here. I don't care about anyone else on the team. Give me Jet Greaves right now. He's going to be the difference maker for us. Is he really in the AHL? They've done my man dirty. Jet Greaves is currently sitting in the AHL. Is he going to be under 25 years old? We're about to find out. 80 overall Jet Greaves, welcome to the team. You're the difference maker for me. So our glorious goaltending tandem is here. Dustin Wolf, Jet Greaves, two guys that we can 1000% rely on. This man's the future for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I believe in him. Now, this season is the most heartbreaking one so far. We don't have to look at the entire league. We just have to look at the Pacific Division. So as we can see, the Vegas Golden Knights finished with 86 points. We finished with 84. So just a couple more wins would have got us into the postseason. We lost 4 of our final 5 games. If we had just won one more additional game, we would have been in the postseason because we did hold the tiebreaker over Vegas. We missed out on the postseason because we went 1-4 in our final 5 games. No, that's just heartbreaking right there. Malcolm Celebrini, 70 points. Connor Bedard is finally going to be our first player with a positive plus minus. He's +9 with 66 points, 35 goals, 31 helpers. Dylan Guenther, 66 points as well. And then when it comes to our 2 elite goaltenders, Dustin Wolf, 32 wins, 3 shouts, a 903 and a 330 234. And then Jet Greaves, he did his thing. 7 wins, 0 shouts, an 897 and a 325. But I'm not too worried about these numbers from Jet Greaves. He took some of the workload away from Dustin Wolf. He was able to pick up 7 wins in the process. He did what he had to. We still have a 0 overall on this team, but that player is about to be removed. We're going to spin this wheel once more, and we're finally going to have a completed team. But at the end of the day, just because we have a completed team doesn't mean this video is over, because we still have to get ourselves a Stanley Cup. We're going to be landing on the Toronto Maple Leafs, which means Matthew Knies is going to be joining our team. He's certainly going to be a great addition to the team. Now we're going to make this real simple on ourselves. Nobody really to consider here. Matthew Knies is going to be the addition. 85 overall Matthew Knies. With him added to the team, we're finally complete. So our team's finally complete. Macklin Celebrini, Seth Jarvis, Dylan Gunther on the first line. Cole Perfetti, Connor Bedard, Pavel Dorfey on the second line. Holmstrom, Protas, and Matthew Knies are going to hold it down the third line, while Luke Evangelista, Lundell, and Pakolzin are going to be on our fourth line. When it comes to our defense, we have Thomas Harley and Mo Sider, Bo Byram, Lane Hudson, Riker Evans, and Mason Lowry. And then when it comes to our elite goaltending tandem, you already know what we're rocking here. Dustin Wolf and Jet Greaves. It's time for us to get our cup. Now, Maple Ridge is not messing around this season. First in the entire league, a 55-20-7 record. The offense is great, but so is our goaltending. We're only allowing 2.63 goals per game, one of the best in the entire league. Connor Bedard's leading the way. He's got 81 points. So we don't have a true point-a-game score, but just look at the scoring depth. It doesn't matter what lines on the ice we're going to be producing. And then when it comes to our goaltending, Dustin Wolf is him. 47 wins, 7 shots, a 917, a 248. If we're going to win a Stanley Cup, it's going to be this season. The offense is great, the defense is great, but it all needs to show up right now. We're taking on the Dallas Stars in the first round. Now we know Dallas isn't going to mess around. They're going to put a lot of pressure on us, but we split the first 4 games so far, so game 5 is going to be a big one, and unfortunately we're going to be dropping that one in overtime, so we got to respond in game number 6. It's going to be game 6 elimination for us, but I think this team's going to step up when the lights are the brightest. We have a lot of great young players on this team, and they're going to find a way to win when it matters most. We have a 3-1 lead entering the third period. As long as we don't collapse here, we're going to be all right, and we almost collapsed. Riker Evans' third period goal is going to end up being the difference, but yeah, that was a close one. So we were able to survive elimination here, but now we have game 7. Game 7 elimination is going to be an absolute thriller here. Who's going to stand tall when it matters most? While Sam Steele and Rantanen are picking up the first 2 goals of the game. Moving into the second period, Mikko Rantanen scoring. Are we going to find the back of the net in this game? No, we aren't. We're getting shut out. That is a tough way to go out. In game 7 elimination, we're not going to be potting a goal. No, that's wild. I also want to point out we technically allowed 6 unanswered goals. Dallas scored back-to-back goals late in the third period. Then they scored 4 straight in this one. Yeah, it's a tough one. That's real tough. We also got shut out in 2 of our last 3 games. Not really ideal. Now the Florida Panthers are going to go on to win the Stanley Cup, taking down the Winnipeg Jets in 5 games, but we finally got some postseason action. The Maple Ridge Gladiators might not have been able to stand tall when it mattered most. We collapsed in the final couple games, but that's perfectly fine because we're building for the future. We're about to add another player to the team, and that new player might be the difference maker. One superstar right here could completely change things for us, and it looks like we're getting that superstar. The guy I've been looking for since the beginning of this video, Jack Hughes from the New Jersey Devils. He's the missing piece. Now I've mentioned time and time again that we just don't have that 90 overall superstar that's going to lead the way for us. Well, I can't say that anymore. We finally have our 90 overall superstar. It's going to be 94 overall Jack Hughes, currently 24 years old. He's been the guy that we've been waiting for. He's been the missing piece, and now it's time for us to get a Stanley Cup. We won 55 games last season. Now we're adding Jack Hughes, so who's really going to stop us? So we're going to be changing up the lines a little bit this season. Connor Bedard, Jack Hughes, and Seth Jarvis is going to hold it down the first line. Pavel Dorfey, Macklin Celebrini, Dylan Gunther on the second line. The bottom 6 is looking absolutely amazing here. I think we're finally ready to win a Stanley Cup. Now, I had fun last season. 55 plus wins. Things were looking great for the team. And then this season happened. Explain how we go from winning 55 games and being first in the entire league to 15th with only 42 wins after adding Jack Hughes to the team. Nothing about this team changed other than the fact that we added Jack Hughes to the team. We were significantly worse this season. Yeah, Connor Bedard, maybe I have to move you back to the second line because I only made a couple changes to this team. One of the changes was moving Connor Bedard up to the first line and adding Jack Hughes to the team. There's no reason that we should be this bad. Dustin Wolf, you posted numbers for me, but we're going to pretend this season didn't happen unless we win a Stanley Cup. We have the Edmonton Oilers in the first round, but I have very low expectations. In saying all of that, though, it would only make sense for us to win a Stanley Cup this season, but we're going to be dropping game number 1. We're going to be down 3-1 in the series. Yeah, let's just get this over with real quick. It's a 5-game series. We lost game number 5, 11-2. Yeah, we don't have to look at the numbers for this team. Let's just go spin the wheel and add another player. Now we have 10 NHL teams left on the wheel here. Which is going to be the next one we're landing on? It's going to be the LA Kings. I don't think they're going to be giving us a superstar, but they should give us a pretty solid role player, unless Quentin Byfield's younger than 25, and he actually might be. Now it's actually kind of funny. I just assume all young NHL players are actually older than what they are. Like Quentin Byfield started the season as a 22-year-old. Why did I think he was older than that? So right now he's only 23 years old. I was thinking bro's like 25, maybe even pushing 26. That's not the case. And then when it comes to a guy like Anze Kopitar, for some reason I think he's a little bit younger than what he actually is. Like he's 38 years old right now. If you were to ask me, I would say 36. For some reason I underestimate all the older players, I overestimate all the younger players. I guess none of that really matters. Quentin Byfield, welcome to the team. You're going to be playing some good bottom 6 minutes for me. Now we're going to assume last season was a fluke and we're actually the best team in the entire league. I don't really know what happened. I don't know why we underperformed so much. The offense was terrible, the defense was terrible, nothing about this team was good, but I think it's going to pick up this season. Maybe it's because I had Riker Evans playing on the left side and not the right side. We're just going to assume that was the reason that we didn't see success, and now that he's back on the right side, we're back to first in the entire league. Now just like that, we're back. All we had to do was move Riker Evans over to the right side and we'd be perfectly fine. Fourth in the entire league, a 49, 23, and 10 record. The offense isn't as good as I was expecting. Like 3.26 goals per game isn't terrible, but it needs to be better. The defense 2.73, that's one of the best in the NHL, so our defense is elite. The offense just has to be better, and that's pretty clear when we see that we only had 1 point a game scorer being Jack Hughes. Cole Perfetti was doing really good and he was playing bottom 6 minutes for me. Connor Bedard 25 goals. What are you doing here? Come on, Bedard, I need better than that. Why are you only picking up 25 goals? You're supposed to be my 40 goal scorer. Dustin Wolf, 46 wins, 2 shots, a 913 to 270. It's time for this team to figure it out in the postseason. We've been disappointed in back-to-back seasons now. It's time for us to get our get back, but unfortunately we have the St. Louis Blues in the first round, so we all know how this is going to go. Yep, we all know how this is going to go. It's going to be a sweep for the Gladiators because this game completely disrespects my St. Louis Blues. Like 8 goals in game number 1 and then 9 goals in game number 3. What are we doing here, EA? You got to respect my St. Louis Blues. They're going to put up a fight against the Gladiators. Like, this is ridiculous. That actually might be the first time in history I've ever been mad about us winning in the first round. We absolutely destroyed the St. Louis Blues, but why did it have to be the St. Louis Blues? Now, the Blues didn't put up a fight whatsoever. We're moving on to the second round to take on the Edmonton Oilers. As we know, they have Connor McDavid and they have Leon Draisaitl, so they're going to put up a fight for sure. So Edmonton's going to be locked in here. They're not looking to lose to the Gladiators. We're down 3-1 in the series. It really happens just like that. Like, no matter how many times we take on the Edmonton Oilers, we're always going to be down 3-1, and then we're always going to lose in game number 5. We all saw what this man's numbers were after round 1, right? He had 10 points in 5 games, including 5 goals. In the next 5 games, he didn't score a single goal. That's all I have to see. Like, seriously, Bedard, what are you even doing out there? 5 goals in the first 5 games, and then you're not going to score a goal after that? You're letting me down big time. You know who won't let me down? Michkov, and that's who we're bringing to the team next. Now, we landed on the Philadelphia Flyers, and I already told y'all who we're going to be adding to the team. It's Michkov, 87 overall. We're not really considering anyone else. Now at this point, it's only a matter of time before we win a Stanley Cup. Like, we have an incredible top 6, the lowest overall being an 87, and it's all 87s across the second line. The third line has an 85, an 86, and another 85. The fourth line is an 84, an 85, and an 84. This team definitely has the talent to win a Stanley Cup. We just need this team rolling on all cylinders moving into the postseason. We can't have anyone letting us down here. Connor Bedard, I'm looking at you. I can't have you picking up only 25 goals during the regular season and then go 5 games without a goal in the postseason. Now, for a second season in a row, the Maple Ridge Gladiators, 4th in the entire league, but this season we're going to be picking up 51 wins. The offense is going to be better this season, and the defense actually a little bit worse, but we're not too worried about the defense because the defense has never held us back. It's always the offense. This offense has to be rolling. Connor Bedard had 51 goals. That's all I need to see. We know we can score goals this season. We can certainly keep the puck out of the net with Dustin Wolf as our goaltender and Jet Greaves as the backup. We just need to show up for 16 wins. All this team needs to do is win 16 games for me in the postseason. Each series is a best of 7, win 4 games, and don't lose more than 3. Now, our first matchup is going to be against the Winnipeg Jets, and we're absolutely flying to start off, and then we're going to drop back-to-back games. It better not be 3 straight games here. I can't afford 3 straight losses. We're winning game number 5, 7-2. Now we have to close out in game number 6. Of course, we're making this difficult. Why would the Gladiators ever make things simple on ourselves? We're moving into game 7 against the Winnipeg Jets. It's a scoreless first period. Moving into the second, we're allowing line, back-to-back goals. I'm sick to my stomach here. We got shut out. There is just no way that happened. You know what? We're actually going to look at postseason scoring here. So as we can all see, the offense was absolutely amazing. Connor Bedard had 1 goal. You can't make this up. There is no way this man just consistently doesn't show up for me. Meanwhile, Dustin Wolf, you did 892 to 329, so you have to face a little bit of the blame as well. Now, I just want to mention there's 8 teams left on this wheel. There is no way we go through every team in the NHL and still not win. We're landing on the Minnesota Wild. Matt Boldy, you have to be our savior. Now, I said I was going to bring Matt Boldy to the team, but now I'm actually second guessing myself here, because do we go with Brock Faber and just improve the defense a little bit more? Like, maybe that's actually what we need here. We don't need more offensive talent. We actually just need another superstar defenseman. Brock Faber, I'm actually going to go with you here. We're going to pass him on Matt Boldy. Although he would be a great addition to the forward core, I think we need more defensive help. Now, instead of always improving the forward core, it's time we improve the defense. We're bringing in 87 overall Brock Faber. He's going to be replacing Mason Lowry. Bo Byram, you're going to be moving down to the third pairing to play alongside Riker Evans. There should be no weaknesses when it comes to our defense now. I think it's finally our time to win a Stanley Cup, but then again, I've been saying that for 3 seasons now. Who knows when we're going to win? Now, you know what? I'm making a stick on the ice executive decision. We're not going to look at the standings quite yet. We're going to simulate the entire postseason. Okay, maybe we don't have to worry about simulating the entire postseason. We're down 3-1 already. Are we going to lose in 5 games? Okay, we won 44 games this season. I was expecting we were somehow going to win a Stanley Cup after only winning 44 games. We were going to go on some absolute miracle run here. That is not the case. We're losing in the first round 5 games. I guess 44 wins did get us 6th in the entire league, so we weren't a terrible team. But yeah, we're losing in 5 games in the first round. Let's just pretend this didn't happen. Now, we are going to win a Stanley Cup, right? Like, I'm assuming that's the whole point of this video, meaning it's going to be a possibility for us to win a Stanley Cup. We're getting the Ottawa Senators, probably bringing Tim Stützle to the team. I don't even know what to ask for anymore. Now, with us just adding Brock Faber to the team, I don't think we need another defenseman here in Jake Sanderson, so we're just going to keep it simple. 89 overall Tim Stützle, welcome to the team. You have to save this franchise. No other player has been able to save this franchise. It's your time to take over. Now, we're changing things up here because we just can't see any success. Connor Bedard, Jack Hughes, Seth Jarvis on the top line. Michkov, Tim Stützle, Dylan Gunther on the second line. Protas, Celebrini, Matthew Nyes on the third line. I can't ask for a better offense, and I can't ask for a better defense here. We have our goaltender in Dustin Wolf. I just need him to show up. Yeah, at this point, I'm just praying for a miracle. We need a miracle to happen here. The Maple Ridge Gladiators, a 45-31-6 record. I guess we do need superstars, because the only thing this team is lacking right now is true superstars. Like, we have Jack Hughes, don't get me wrong. Connor Bedard's done great. Michkov's pretty solid here. Macklin Celebrini, 68 points. He's doing what he can. But I think we just need multiple 90 overall superstars, because as of right now, Jack Hughes is the only guy who's a 90 overall in the team. This team just hasn't been able to win. Dustin Wolf posted terrible numbers this season. Jet Greaves, maybe you should be the guy for us. Do we run Jet Greaves in the postseason? We might just have to switch things up here. We have Vancouver in the first round. I don't even know what to do. Like, I have lost all faith in this team. Why would I have faith in a team that can't prove me wrong? Like, this team just keeps on losing and losing. They might have a 3-1 series lead right now, but that doesn't mean anything. We're taking Vancouver down. That still doesn't mean anything. We're taking on the Edmonton Oilers in the second round. We all know what's going to happen here. We're not going to get past the Edmonton Oilers. We're going to completely fold when it matters most. Yeah, we're getting swept. Why are we surprised? Now, I really don't know what this team could use. We basically have the best players under 25 years old. I don't think there's really anyone else we can add here. Dustin Wolf, 4 wins, 1 shutout, a 908 and a 267. These numbers aren't even terrible. We just couldn't find a way to win. Now, I've reached the point where I'm actually completely fed up with the Maple Ridge Gladiators right now. There is 6 teams left on this wheel. The Pittsburgh Penguins, Anaheim Ducks, St. Louis Blues, Tampa Bay Lightning, Vancouver Canucks, and New York Rangers. We are going to go take the best player under 25 years old from all 6 of these teams. We're going to give our team one last chance here to win a Stanley Cup, because if we can't win after adding 6 of the best from these 6 teams right here, then this team's just never going to win. Now, we're going to start with the Anaheim Ducks, and the best player that we can go with is going to be Mason McTavish, sitting at an 84 overall. He's going to be the first new addition here. I'm not even too sure if he's going to be cracking the lineup, to be honest. When it comes to the Pittsburgh Penguins, we're actually just going to completely skip over this team, because the best player we can add from them is Philip Tomasino. And yeah, Tomasino is definitely not going to be playing minutes for us. I still will add him to the team, but he's not going to be playing. One team I did overlook here is the New York Rangers, and we're actually going to pass up on Lafreniere so I can go with Will Cooley instead. We don't need more playmakers here. We have a surplus of playmakers. We need another good power forward like Will Cooley. Now, moving down to the St. Louis Blues, of course, we're going to be going with Dylan Holloway, 85 overall. Is he going to be jumping into the lineup? I'm actually not too sure. here, because when you look at our forward core, it's actually in a really good spot. So I don't know who we're going to be taking out. When it comes to the Tampa Bay Lightning, we're not getting a notable player whatsoever here. We're going to be bringing in a 78 overall defenseman. Yeah, they're not playing any minutes for me whatsoever. And then the final player we're bringing to the team is going to come from the Vancouver Canucks. We can't go with Quinn Hughes here, so basically we're not going to be going with anyone at all. Also, just for a bit of context, we are one of the best teams in the entire league. We're currently sitting at a 92 overall. A 92 overall is higher than the Florida Panthers. It's higher than the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's higher than anyone in the Metro Division. It's 1 overall behind the Dallas Stars. It's tied with the Colorado Avalanche. So just based on that, we are one of the best teams in the entire league. So it's the last dance. This is basically the best team we can build under 25. Connor Bedard, Jack Hughes, Seth Jarvis, Michkov, Tim Stutzel, Dylan Gunther, Will Cooley, Malcolm Celebrini, Matthew Nyes, Dylan Holloway, Protus, Cole Perfetti. When it comes to the defense, we already know what that's looking like. This hasn't changed in a really long time. And when it comes to goaltending, that's not changing either. Dustin Wolf is the man for us. Jack Greaves is our backup. We have to win. This is our last chance. So in our final season, we're 7th in the entire league, a 45, 25, and 12 record. We're not winning a Stanley Cup, are we? I can see it all happening. We had 1 point a game score here in Jack Hughes. Connor Bedard was only +7. I guess you really do need superstars. If you don't have superstars, you're not going to be able to win a Stanley Cup, because right now we don't have any, and we are clearly not seeing any success. We have Vegas in the first round. We're really going to lose in the first round, and that's how we're going to end this video. Like, if we're going to lose in the first round, at least make it a competitive series. We're winning game number 1 and dropping game 2. We have a 3-1 series lead. If we blow a 3-1 series lead to end this video, I'm going to lose my mind. But you know what? We don't have to worry about it. We're getting past the Vegas Golden Knights. We're probably going to have to play Edmonton in the second round, but I guess not. We have the Nashville Predators. I'm not nearly as scared of Nashville as I am the Edmonton Oilers, because Edmonton keeps on taking us down. Is Nashville going to sweep us? It doesn't look like it. We've won back-to-back games. Can we make it 3 straight? Yes, we can. Let's make it 4 straight and move on to the conference finals. Okay, we have never made it to this point before. We're in the conference finals and we're taking on the Minnesota Wild. We have to beat Minnesota in order to make it to the Stanley Cup final. We have split the series so far. Game number 5 is going to be the most important game. We're winning that one. We are 1 game away from making it to the Stanley Cup final. We are here. We're in the Stanley Cup final. We have Tampa Bay up next. Tampa Bay is the last team that can stop us here, and they're not going to stop us. We've split the series so far. We've done a great job winning game number 5, and we have to do that again here. We're dropping game number 5. Please do not fold in the Stanley Cup final. Like, we can't go out like this. We can't finally make it to the Stanley Cup final and then lose. You're kidding me. You're actually kidding me. 5-1. We allowed 4 goals in the first period. I'm sick. That's not the way I dreamed of us going out. If anything, I was expecting us to get swept in the first round. Nope, we finally made it to the Stanley Cup final. Jack Hughes actually performed for me. Michkov wasn't terrible. The plus-minus numbers are terrible, but we're going to pretend that they don't exist. And when it comes to goaltending, a 916 to 248, I'm heartbroken. We finally had a chance to win a Stanley Cup. This was arguably the best team that we could have had. And in our final chance to win a Stanley Cup, we're going to be collapsing, losing 3 straight games. I guess the young guns just didn't have it in them. We didn't have the superstar talent needed to win a Stanley Cup. And for the first time in a long time, in a video in this format, we're actually not going to be walking away with the Stanley Cup. This rarely ever happens.